Yes, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. You ain't so tough with that bad boy talk.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy talk. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
What's poppin', people? Has everybody calmed down after Chelsea losing 2-1 away at league leaders Liverpool at Anfield? A frustrating result, and one that I reacted to straight after the game and uploaded the video here on the channel, so feel free to check that out. I've since been able to test the mood a little bit across social media and what people are saying. And Chelsea, exciting, strange, peculiar, and potentially lacking. Good coach, great players, and what's missing? What's missing to make the difference? Of course, time. You know, Maresca needs time. He started very, very well. He's overachieved. Maybe not. Maybe he's ahead of schedule. But as games go by, of course, we have a bigger sample size of what's going on with this Chelsea team, what's what. And with time, you will learn what is missing. We're going to speak a little bit about that today. Of course, reference the record that Willian has broken, the 17-year-old Brazilian sensation that's coming to Chelsea and might have Noni Madueke worried. Or even, well, not Cole Palmer worried. No one could worry Cole Palmer, but he can play in that number. Maybe he'll have Joao Felix worried as the deputy for the number 10. Still, we're going to get into all of it today. Thanks for joining me, guys. Road to 200,000 subscribers here on the channel on Football Therapy this season. So thank you so much for subscribing. If you do choose to subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notifications icon. Become part of the family. The original GOAT gang members here on Football Therapy. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. Let's get into it. Alright, mate. I'm going to show you this tweet or post on X from Big Fab Rom. Here it is. Ding! Future Chelsea gem Willian breaks Neymar's record for the under-17 with the most goals and assists in a single edition of the Brazilian league. Has completed 18 goals and assists for Palmeiras this season. And of course, he's waiting to join CFC in July. Breaking records. A seriously productive young attacker. It's very difficult to remember this kid is 17. We made the agreement to sign him when he was 16. He's playing in men's football. He's absolutely I was going to say shrugging off players, but he's getting, you may have seen that clip on social media, getting knocked over by opposition, but just rolling and carrying on, sprinting. He doesn't care. He's a bit of a superstar, this kid. And actually, he's been interviewed recently. Obviously, he's spoken about his Cole Palmer situation. He's exchanged messages with Palmer about playing together, about both saying they're going to do great things at Chelsea. It is exciting. I, like many, got a little bit bored of Chelsea signing the youngsters. There's the army of children, especially because we were so used to being underperforming as a first team, which is, touch wood, turning around a little bit now. But I am very excited. Kendry Pires is also a baller, but Willian is the one. He's the one that is very, very exciting. That looks like, he's so ahead of schedule as a developing footballer, and he's just such a special talent that's been recognised by all of South America and indeed Europe. We're ready for him. You got Romano tweeting about him every other day. The hype is real. He looks like an absolute sensational footballer, and him and Cole Palmer playing together is a very, very exciting prospect. So I wanted to reference him breaking that record because it is relevant. It's friggin' huge, really, and it's hella exciting. But on to more topical things in terms of the present moment. Namaste with Chelsea in the Premier League. Of course, a defeat away at Anfield where we had nearly 60% possession, but of course, this new Arne Slot Liverpool won't mind that. We had way more shots, we had way more touches in the opposition box, we had way more final third entries, we had a generically better attacking performance than Liverpool did, which is really positive. We had wobbly moments, Tosin, Sanchez, and indeed some sort of systemic spaces. Rafa Benitez and Theo Walcott, who I actually really like his punditry, was on Match of the Day too, discussing the spaces and, you know, Chelsea's back line and the middle flank of four when we're pressing out of possession. There's big distances between the lines, like you'll see it if you've seen that. But that I think is okay. I wanted to talk about this a little bit, so let me bring it on home. I think that kind of systemic football stuff will get better with time. It's in its embryonic stage with Enzo Maresca, teething issues, you know, whatever, growing pains. He does seem like a good coach, a good character, and I don't want to go too early, but he does seem like the appropriate character, personality, style to lead Chelsea, especially when you think of... Poch was fine, but Poch kind of like, he was a nice guy, but there was this distance with him. I don't know, he was kind of like... Pochettino was kind of like brand Pochettino. He never felt like Chelsea's manager, and that's not me being like a knobhead talking about, oh, he's ex-Spurs, mate, can't be having him. It's more like... I really like Pochettino, and apparently he's a lovely, lovely man, and he's just a great guy and a great man manager, emotional intelligence, a lot of stuff that I value very highly, and, you know, clearly he's a good manager. I mean, I think people will look back on his career and think, maybe he wasn't one of these top coaches, but I think he's a good coach. But it never really felt like, it just felt like Pochettino was managing Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? Like... it never felt like Pochettino's Chelsea. And to be honest, Pochettino's Chelsea, if you're going to call that, was a very, very flawed, chaotic system, essentially, that relied on a lot of stuff. But yeah, this is not a hit piece on Pochettino. I never really felt like he was the appropriate leader. I feel like Enzo Maresca is the appropriate leader, both as a sort of figurehead, but as a coach. You know, there was all these articles that came out when Maresca started saying, look, we've seen it in the videos, he's on the training pitch, he's marking people, he's pulling players, he's running with them. You know, Pochettino's older, not that much older, but older, and, you know, he's not a training pitch coach, training ground coach, but Maresca is, and the players like it. It feels like the right thing. So I'm going to sort of digress slightly there. I'm talking about how appropriate he is to lead Chelsea in that sense, but also tactically, football-wise, systemically, it does seem like appropriate, like it's got scale for improvement. It's not like Pochettino chaos ball, really vulnerable on transition, just Caicedo screening and getting run past. It seems like it's sensible and intelligent footballing-wise and tactics, but more importantly, and the most salient point here, guys, is scope for development. You know, I'm not seeing a ceiling here with Maresca's football that we've reached and we're battling for top 6. I can see it higher up for us to develop into that. So that's really, really important, but that's good, and I feel safe, and I've got the warm fuzzies. I just feel safe. I feel like I've got the big, warm, safe arms of Chelsea around me at the moment, which I haven't felt in a long time, but that's not what everyone's talking about. For who, Jamie Carragher? Is that swearing? Doing that scouse noise. I hope apologies if you perceive that as swearing. Jamie Carragher, Gary Neville, the friggin' Brexit twins who want to make England great again. With Neil Warnock at the helm. They have spoken, and of course they're high profile, you know, Tweedledee, Tweedledum, about Chelsea missing 2 things: the goalkeeper and the striker. And it's this conversation that has come up again. Now, I am going to talk about it now, but I am going to caveat and disclaim that this isn't a hit piece on Nico Jackson or Rob Sanchez. In fact, off the back, it's worth saying, transition apparently. I really like Nicolas Jackson. He scored a good goal against Anfield. He's 6th of the campaign. He's got a few assists as well. And he always runs selflessly, and he's very, very good. And I wouldn't want to lose him for, you know, it would take a lot of money for me to agree to sell Nico Jackson. But I'd be like, now we need 2 strikers. So no, I don't want to get rid of Nico Jackson. I think he's great. I'm generally pretty happy with him being Chelsea's starting striker because I think he's going to get better. And I would never want to lose him. I'd think he'd be the best second choice striker in the league if we get another one. That's important. But do we... Let's just say Osimhen, because he's the freaking spectre at the feast here. Is that the right analogy or term here? he's the guy, right? He's the guy who might be convinced to leave Galatasaray in January maybe, or indeed next summer, and join Chelsea to be the senior striker, the big boy up front, the sensible guy up front. Scored like an amazing overhead kick the other day. Like, come on, like, are we, like, as much as we like Jackson and style, are we going to see Jackson score an overhead kick? We've seen Nkunku do like overhead, techniques and stuff. Is Jackson going to score an overhead kick in the box? Probably not. He's not that staying. You don't have to do overhead kicks to be good players. I don't think Cole Palmer will do it. Do you know what I mean? Eden Hazard certainly wasn't going to do it. But I'm talking about this iconic big boy number 9 who's going to get stuff done defending corners. Like, I was trying to think of that game at Anfield, right? Like, 2 things. Defending that set piece where Reece James lets Curtis Jones run through. You can get really intelligent defensive set piece strikers. Like Drogba was great. He was an amazing first man defender. I think he'd probably be better than Jackson defending in the box. Obviously, Jackson might have been left up in case we can break or whatever. And of course, Renato Vega winning the ball in the box late on for that chance. Again, Jackson's okay at heading. He's got better, but he's not like this iconic number 9 that just gobbles them up in the air. And of course, Nkunku can score the odd header as well, but neither of them are that guy, that real, true, titanic figure, transformative. Now look, Liverpool don't have that. In fact, who the heck has got that? Haaland? I mean, you could say maybe not lesser high-profile teams like Arsenal don't have it. Thomas Solanke, the jury's out. United certainly don't have it. I mean, they've got big strikers in Højlund and Xerxes, like one of the biggest men I've ever seen. But let's not talk about them. Let's talk about Chelsea. That guy, does Osimhen in these scenarios, in these close games, make the difference? And I'm kind of inclined to say yes. If we sign Victor Osimhen and one of Jackson and Nkunku had to go, I do think Nkunku would go. I've just got this feeling that, if Maresca wants to play that, he put him as a left winger in this game. I thought Jackson was going to go as a left winger at Anfield at the end, but Nkunku did. I have a feeling, as good as Nkunku is, as an amazing finisher as he is, the goal scoring great, but the profile of your play style as a jigsaw player, as being a part of the jigsaw, I do worry for him, especially if we sign another conventional number 9. Of course, we looked at Amoradian and Duran, who are proper number 9s, like Osimhen. So I do worry for Nkunku a little bit, because I don't see Jackson going anywhere. We've signed him down to a long-term Cole Palmer-esque contract, and Chelsea are very high on him and believe he'll be very good and keep doing well. And he'd get loads of games as a second-choice striker at Chelsea who plays in Europe. So, fine, right? That's the closest one up for debate, whether we need a striker or not. I think we will go in for one, possibly even in January. I think we might have a look at this like sample size of all the games up to the winter transfer window and be like, does that make the difference? Look at Maresca's Chelsea, pretty good actually. What happens if you drop Osimhen in there? Would we have been in the title race? I mean, maybe it's a little bit of speculation, and of course, there's always a chance of dropping a foreign player, as in not as in a foreign, literally from another country, but foreign as in like not part of the team yet. Does that actually make the team play worse for a while as well? So there's lots of stuff to consider and think about. So let me know your thoughts on the striker situation, because that's the talking point: striker and goalkeeper. We are about to talk about Rob Sanchez. Comment on the striker situation down below. Okay, Rob Sanchez. I don't think he was particularly costly. I know Theo Walcott on Match of the Day 2 spoke about him on the winner from Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones running in. He feels like if Sanchez, he wants his goalkeeper to be more assertive. And when you watch it back, you're like, yeah, maybe a more confident, informed goalkeeper just comes out and that goal doesn't go in, basically, right? And maybe that whole, like, he was shook a little bit by the VAR overturn with Curtis Jones when he took him out previously. Maybe it was a confidence thing. Okay. When we went into this season and we were like, we're going to have Rob Sanchez as number 1, after we'd signed Jorgensen, I was like, well, we're going to play Jorgensen. And they were like, no, Rob Sanchez is going to be number 1. I was worried. Now, I'm less worried than I was in the summer, but I'm not sold. He's made some amazing saves, right? And he's played a couple of them really, really amazing long balls. But to be a goalkeeper, above else, you need consistency. Consistency will bring trust. And it's the moments like it is those two positions, isn't it, where you can't try and get cheap options, alternatives with striker and goalkeeper. Chelsea will argue that both Nico Jackson and Rob Sanchez's ceilings are really high, and they've got so much, they can become so good. I agree to a degree with Jackson. I do worry about Rob Sanchez. Rob Sanchez has played in the Premier League for years and years and years. This is the second season for Nico Jackson, and he's scoring goals. But Rob Sanchez, he was all right at Brighton for a while. Graham Potter, I think he was on, was it Monday Night Football or Match of the Day? He was on one of them, possibly Match of the Day. And he was speaking about Rob Sanchez, and he's like, yeah, look, he's so good and he can get really good and whatever. I know he was dropped under De Zerbi, who of course succeeded Graham Potter. But I'm just not convinced with Rob Sanchez. I'm convinced he can be very good and has moments when he's very good. He's a giant. He fills the goal really well. Despite being really, really big, his reflexes and saving speed is very fast. But his decision making, And yes, that can get better. But like I said, when you've been in the Prem for many, many years, this is his second season at Chelsea, I am worried about Rob Sanchez. And if you ask me, Jan, like, if you had to change one now, goalkeeper or striker, although I think striker could affect the games that we've not won more positively at the moment, I am confident that goals will come more and more and more, but I'm not confident the goalkeeping situation would. I think long term, it would be a better long-term investment to get a new goalkeeper, and it might be a better short-term investment to get a striker. If that makes sense, that's probably how I feel about it. But I did want to talk about it, guys. It's been a hot topic, so I put it out to you guys. I'll be reading the comments, so please do leave your thoughts in the comment section. As always, thank you for dropping a like on the video. It supports the channel. It's super simple and quick for you guys. Do consider subscribing. Hit the bell if you do choose to subscribe. And I do hope to see you back here on the channel very soon. Peace.